James 4:7 says, submit yourself unto God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's your girl, Nikki St. Clair, back out on these YouTube streets. I'm not going to be here before you long, but I just kind of wanted to share with my journey of celibacy and how God has really, really worked things out and come through for me. I mean, like, He's been putting rams in the bush, He's been touching people to help me communicate with me. Sometimes they're talking and they're saying things that are encouraging to my soul and to my spirit, and they don't even know. He's really, really been working a wonder on my behalf, and I'm so grateful for it. A little bit about me, I was in a 2-year relationship. It didn't work out, and I chose a life of celibacy. And, well, actually, I'll take that back. I was actually in a relationship 2 years ago, and since the relationship, I chose a life of celibacy. So, with that said, at first you kind of go through your changes because you miss that person and you're rejecting your spirit and your flesh because it's used to being with that person, the way that they smell, the way that they look, the way that they walk, the way that they talk. But, once you get over that hurdle, and it is a very hard hurdle to get over, you begin to deal with self. And once you begin to deal with yourself, you realize that there are some holes in you that definitely need to be filled. There are some holes in you that definitely need to be repaired. And because of that, you realize that you have a lot of work to do. You're at the start here point of the map, and you're just getting started. And I had gotten started about 2 years ago, going through this journey. And now that the I miss you has burned off, now that the repairing has begun, and I'm starting to see progress in my process, I am met with new challenges, you guys. The first 2 years, I did not go out. I was under straight up reconstruction, going to the gym, focusing on my spiritual life, and establishing some sort of foundation with Christ and becoming renewed and going through a rebirth, if you will. But now that I've gotten into the routine of praying, I've gotten into the routine of speaking wisdom and speaking life and praying for others. Now that I've gotten to that, I've gotten it's allowed me to get through my own situation, and I've come far, but I'm not there, y'all, and I understand that I'm not there. And a lot of times when you're on this journey, you realize that yes, you've made progress through your process, but you haven't arrived, and there will be situations and scenarios that will come into your life and remind you that you've made progress through your process, but you ain't there, sis. You ain't there, bro. And I'd been quite a hermit. I had been antisocial for a while. And just here recently, I mean, if you know me, if you follow me on social media, I went through a period. I'm a makeup girl, I'm a glamour girl. But I went through a period where I didn't want to wear makeup and I didn't wear weaves. And I began to um, invest in skincare and go through a regimen of gym and skincare. And I wore my turban and I began to glow from within, and it would just exude such power, such confidence, and I was feeling myself. I'm not gonna lie, even in the Bible, It speaks of Moses going on the mountain to be with God. And when he came down from the mountain, God's glory would shine upon him, so much so that he would have to get behind the veil, because the people said that the glory of God, the glow from him was so bright they couldn't take it. And I've recently kind of came down from the mountain, and I kind of wanted to migrate with my people. I didn't want to come off as holier than thou. I don't profess to be any type of nun, preacher, priest, or anything of that nature. However, I did what was right for me to survive. And I was in desperate mode to run for cover. And God has been truly hiding me and dealing with me. But, recently I came from out of hiding, if you will. And I'm like, oh, a day party can't help. A comedy club, I mean, it can be bad, but what it did was it exposed me, and exposed my spirit, because my spirit was still open. But nonetheless, I lost 40 pounds. I put on some clothes. I put on my makeup. I put on my hair, if you will, and I began to go out. My outer appearance is different. My inner man is different. And once you commit to God, you have to be cognitive of what's in you and where you take it. And so I'm thinking, comedy club is not so bad. As a friend, she was going through a rough time. We celebrated her birthday, went to the club. I mean, as soon as I got to the club, you guys, I'm a whole auntie, okay? I'm older. And when I got to this club downtown, it was full of kids. And when I say kids, I'm talking about booty shorts and tennis shoes. And here I am in all of my glory with my beautiful lace front and my face beat and a wonderful dress. And these kids were everywhere, and they were singing songs that I'd never heard before. And I felt really out of place. But I tried to play it off. And in order to play it off, she ordered champagne because it was VIP and shots, and we all toasted. And excuse me, I'm still a little bit sick. It kind of lowered my inhibitions. And I said, I'm going to try to make the most of this and have a good time, because this is my friend. She's invited me, and I want to celebrate her. And so a gentleman came and asked me to dance, and I danced with him. And before I know it, another gentleman jumped in front of me. So, there's a whole sandwich situation going on, which I was not very comfortable with, but I tried to go with it. On another instance of me going out, a friend of mine had a day party. No. There was a day party going on for homecoming for the college students, and I attended. And once again, I put on my whole glamour girl thing, and I came on out, and I kind of was feeling myself, my shape was looking good, and I felt great. I'm still a chunky girl, but I really, really felt great. And I attracted younger guys. And get this, you guys, I'm in my 40s. I attracted this 27-year-old. And then I attracted a stripper. I didn't know he was a stripper at the time. But, we sat and we chit-chatted and talked as much as we could amongst the noise and the congestion. And we followed each other on Instagram. And I'm telling you this because I'm going to bring it home, you guys. But we followed each other on Instagram. And of course, he did what strippers do. He did what strippers do. Um, of course, he sent me pictures of him. He sent me pictures of his body. And he sent me pictures of his member through the DMs. And I just told him, I said, you can't really be sending me pictures like that. I said, because I'm living a holy life, a life of celibacy. And, but it was already done. I couldn't unring a bell. I had already seen it. So I had to kind of like back up off of that situation. But the flesh in me did look. And the next day, I'm chilling with my girls and I'm just talking to a friend of mine, and she's older. And me being in my flesh, Shar, like, girl, look what this guy sent me. And she looked and she said, girl, he has been stretched, meaning that he's had an implant, if you know what I mean. And she showed me where the cuts were. She showed me where the parts of him have been mutilated, as if they put him back together again. And I was instantly intrigued but turned off at the same time. You could see the skin separated. You could see where the skin had died, and it was darker than the rest. And I was just like, wow, because I was like, wow, this person has really invested in this, And he's a male entertainer. So I guess you do what you have to do if that's what you want to do. But I thank God that my friend exposed that, because here I am. I was kind of intrigued, like, wow, like he's a really little guy and he's packing all of this. And I was in my flesh, y'all. I was in my flesh. And while being in my flesh, I was brought back to where I needed to be after he had been exposed. And so moving forward, I moved forward from that, and I went to another day party. This is me. I haven't been out in 2 years. I've been a hermit. I haven't been wearing any makeup, no hair, nothing. But here I am, gonna step out into the world and check the climate of the world. And nothing's changed, you guys. So go to this day party, and when I say the finest guy in the party walked in the room, my eyes were zooming in on him, and I get really bold. And as soon as I got to the party, I went ahead and I purchased a drink. The party was fairly empty, and I said, well, I'm going to have a good time, because the gentleman that invited me, he seemed a little bit embarrassed because it wasn't full. And this person is well known and in the industry. But of course, when you have a day party, everybody is going to come at night. I don't know what it's about, but everyone's going to come at night. And sure enough, I've been at the blackjack table, and was winning, and I was having a good time. And then this gentleman walks in the door. And I'm telling you, the enemy knows what you like. And I'm kind of feeling myself, and he comes in, and I tell him, I said, excuse me, you are so handsome. And I was like, would you join us, at this blackjack table and play? He was like, oh, yeah, I'll play. I don't really have any chips. And I give him some chips, and he sits down, and we all play for the last hour of the party. And before he left, after the game was over, he kind of mingled, and I sat at a domino table, because this was like a game day party. And now stay with me, because I'm going to get to the point. He came up to me and he asked me for my number, you guys. And I was a little buzzing, so I was like, well, you got to kiss my cheek first. And he kissed my cheek, and then I turned to him and we kissed. in the party in front of everybody. It was a beautiful pact. It wasn't really anything too intimate. Um, and before I knew it, he's on the phone with me on the way home, and he is texting like crazy. Y'all, I'm a whole auntie. I don't really like to text. And if a real man wants you, I feel like he's going to call you. And I think that that's how I moved with my ex so fast, because he was older and we talked on the phone and he made sure I was home, and we were inseparable from the day that we met. But here it is. I'm dealing with someone younger that I just met, and I'm feeling good. And he says, I could be where you are. I could just pack me a bag. You want to pack a spend the night bag to come to my house? Like, absolutely not. Like, first of all, I haven't had no man up in here in years. I haven't, and I don't know, instantly my boundaries went up. Like, whoa, like he's really, really trying to move fast on things. And then when I'm asking him, hey, um, so where do you live? And do you live with someone? Like, I'm asking him things, and he's being like quite evasive. And then all of a sudden he texts, but then his text becomes few and far and in between. 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. Then all of a sudden, hey, I was in the shower. Like, real random. There was no flow. And thank God there was no flow, because I could have gotten into some things, I could have started having conversations in the late night that I didn't need to have. And so that was done and over with. And then boom, the next day, the stripper's back in my DM. And I'm like, oh. And he's like, how are you, love? I've really been thinking of you. And I really want to go out with you. I want to take you out. I want us to hang out. We can do whatever you want to do. And I'm just like, dang, like, he's like playing my song. Because I always feel like if a man is going to show interest in you, he not only wants to see you or drive by or try to find out your address or you come over there. He wants to do things with you. He wants to talk to you. And I was instantly drawn, and the flesh in me was like, let me separate his profession from the man. Let me at least get to know him. When my spirit man was like, absolutely not, my flesh was like, well, I don't think it's right that we judge. Let me see where his head is. And we talked all night until 2 o'clock this morning. And we had so much in common. And we weren't even talking sexually, even though he's dropped some gems about what he's capable of doing and this and that. And then we even spoke about, hey, would you be willing to go get tested? He was like, yeah, we can get tested together. I'm free. And like, he was grinding my gears, y'all. Like, he was really turning some things. And then I was just like, oh my God, let me get off this phone, because I began to feel things wake up that hadn't been awake in a long time. And I got off that phone and I said, God, please help me. Help me. Because I have got to be, it must be me being in a lower vibration state. I've been going places and I've been drinking here and there, and I find myself in a state of a lower vibration to where things were actually getting to me. And I didn't shut things down when I needed to shut things down. And this morning, I was led to the scripture, James 4:7, that says, submit unto God and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. And I prayed and I said, God, in the name of Jesus, take me higher and help me to flee. take me higher and help me to flee. And immediately he said, block them. Block them. And I didn't really get into depth to where after the stripper hit me up, or in between the stripper hitting me up, the guy from the party hits me up. He's a celebrity chef. And we're talking about food and healthy options. And I'm like, hey, maybe you could one day teach me how to make Brussels sprouts with balsamic and honey, how to roast them just right. And there were these jerk turkey wings. And I was like, oh, and maybe we can learn how you could teach me how to do that. Do you know how to cook that? He was like, oh, absolutely. And he says, y'all, I could do it. We can do it tomorrow. And I'll buy all of the food and all of the ingredients. And I'll just come over and teach you. So he's steady trying to get over here. First is like the spend the night bag. And I was like, no. And I shut that down. And then I mentioned, hey, you're a celebrity chef. I got to see his Instagram. He really does this. And I'm like, hey, maybe you could teach me. And he's so gung-ho, y'all, to get over here. And he was so clever with it. He's like, I'm buying all the groceries and I'm coming, I can come over and I could teach you. Number one, you're not coming over here. My boundaries immediately went up. I don't care how much you spend. I don't care. I'm not that gung-ho to have you come over here. I'm thinking one day in the future, or, we can team up. Maybe we could have some type of dinner party where we learn or something like that. I'm trying to be safe, y'all. I'm trying to guard what I fought so much to have. And he's steady trying to get over here. And I just said, you know what? I have to block him. And in hindsight and in retrospect, he was a chef for a very, very, very popular, I won't say famous, but I will say popular, influencer, actor, and singer who has been associated with the trending topic. And I was like, you know what? Sometimes my mind could go there, but sometimes when my mind goes there, I later find out that no, there was really, really something to it. Like it gets exposed that I was onto something. And he was gung-ho to try to come over here and cook for me, y'all. And like I said, he's been associated with the crowd that is trending with the subject at hand. And I was like, you know what? I go on his Instagram and I look at his Instagram, and sure enough, they're blowing up drug balloons and they're doing things at these parties that he's catering at. And he has really, really been exposed to different things. And I said, you know what? It would really be something if he was to try to come over here and try to get me, if you know what I mean, and slip me a Mickey. And I just instantly shut it down. God told me to block both of them and delete them. And I began to pray. I began to go into a deep prayer. And I have made up in my mind that I'm not ready for the world. I need to go a little bit deeper in God, that I need to go a little bit higher in my vibration, because I should have cut things off as soon as I saw them. But the flesh in me, and yeah, when you're in this life, y'all, sometimes you get lonely, sometimes you get bored, but we all know, like the word says, the idle mind is a playground of the devil. And so I had gone idle. And I found myself places that I shouldn't be, doing things that I should not have done, lowering my inhibitions, and allowing certain energies to connect to me and try to get me. And so, yeah, with that said, I was obedient. I went ahead and did that. And before I felt such a heaviness and a panic, y'all. But now that I've blocked it and I've been in prayer this morning, I said Psalms 91 prayer. I've said my own personal prayer and I was obedient. I feel so relieved. And last night I went ahead and took off my wig that I've been wearing. I'm walking around here looking like Cleo from Set It Off. Yes, I am. But I got up and made me some coffee, making my bed. I'm about to jump in the shower and I'm about to get back on my grinding. I'm about to go back to the gym. Last week I was extremely sick. I'm still recovering. You can hear it in my voice, but I feel like I'm out of the thick of things and I am going to get back on my program and my regimen because it has not only kept my body good, but it's kept my mind and my spirit high. And I need to dig deeper into the word. And I realize that I'm not ready for the world. And that's okay. I realize that being in this energy, you are going to attract so many people from so many walks of life. And they're not even going to know why they're attracted. And a lot of times they're completely harmless and they're just being in their element. But something in you will rise up and it will draw all men unto you, all men unto you. Good, the bad, the crazy, babies, animals. I get it all, but it just so happens these two were attractive and they were talking the talk that I hadn't heard in a while, and my flesh rose up. But I submitted to God. James 4:7 says, submit to God and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. And I'm so glad that the word is not only in me, but I've written it upon my heart that I may not sin against it. This walk is not easy, but I know in the end it's all going to be worth it. I know that I didn't go through what I went through to be with some stripper or be with somebody who are both of them. I don't even care if they're a doctor and a fireman. If they are not spiritually compatible with me, I shouldn't be with them. I shouldn't be entertaining them. And I got on this live to encourage somebody, and I don't care if I only encourage one person. If I've planted the seed for one person, if I've done my job, because God said, get on this live and tell your story. And I'm getting on this live and I'm telling my story, and I want whoever is hearing me, I want you to be encouraged. I want you to not encourage the things of yesterday that had you to fall, but I want you to press toward the mark of the higher calling in Christ Jesus. And I want you to stay connected, that he may guide you in all of your ways. And I want you to acknowledge him in all of your ways. And even though we're walking by faith and not by sight, and you can't see, as long as you stay connected, he will guide you through and he will tell you, okay, that's cool. No, absolutely not. And it is up to you to be obedient. That's why it's important to stay connected. I almost slipped, y'all. I almost let go. And it wasn't for anything that was worth it. You know what I mean? They weren't worth it. Like, maybe if, I don't know. I'm just going to throw a name out there. I don't know. Maybe if it was like, hey, LeBron James or, hey, you know, Russell, like a Sierra's husband type, to pursue me. I don't know, man. I might have let go, but this was trial and error. This was a tiny test, and I was able to pass it. I'm pretty sure there will be more tests in the future. So, y'all pray my strength in the Lord, and I will do the same for you. Drop down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you were touched by this, or if this was on time for you, share in the comments with us. Share how you almost let go, but you overcame and you were able to go through the process and be prosperous. And I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for dropping by. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. And I'm forever so grateful. Peace.